Hello, and welcome to week 5 of Train to Silver. And I'm super excited about this week because it's probably one of my favorite aspects of building the business. And that is just nurturing your team and taking care of them and following up and working with the people that are on your team. Because, for me, this is a relationship business. And I truly like to become friends with the people that I've enrolled. Well, if they're the friend they want to be friends with me, I like being friends with them. I just went to lunch with a woman that I signed up, and we mostly did not talk about doTERRA, but it was just nice to connect with her more. So this week we're talking about supporting, and that really is just, to me, it's following up with your builders and following up with your users. So both, just supporting whether they're users, supporting whether they're a builder. And I apologize, I have a little cranky guy standing outside of my door. So you want to make sure that you've got a really good system set to support your new builders as they come in. I once learned from Tiffany Peterson that if you feel like if you're feeling overwhelmed, like, oh man, starting a new builder is so much time and effort, you don't manifest a new builder as often because you think, oh, it's so exhausting. I don't know if I want to start this again. So having a good system in place and having good tools are so much easier, because I remember those same feelings of, oh my gosh, starting a new builder is so hard. And it's crazy because I wasn't attracting very many new builders when I was going through that phase of my doTERRA-ness in the last 7 years. Now, you want to work on mentoring your team and training your builders. And we're going to just talk about everything that they have listed on pages 17 through 22, and then nurturing your team. So we're just going to jump right in and go to page 17. We're going to talk about some of the tools and resources they have just to help you build your business. And hopefully you guys can't hear this baby screaming outside. He's with Richard's out there. No one worry. He hasn't been locked in a room. I locked myself in a room so he couldn't hear me, so I couldn't hear him. So this shows you some really great, the top things that sustain a progressive builder culture. So I think it's really good to track presentations, to track what's going on in your business and see what's going on. I like to be able to track how many classes they're doing, how many one-on-ones they're doing, because when they come to me and say, this isn't working, I don't know if I'm meant to do this, this is hard, I like to say, okay, well, let's look at the classes you've been doing and see what's going on. Because right then and there, we're usually able to very quickly identify what is going on. Why is it that we haven't been able to, you're not getting enrollments? Is it because you're either not doing classes, or is it because you're doing classes and no one's showing up? Is it because you're doing classes and nobody's enrolling, or everybody's just doing little retail orders? Let's figure out what's going on so we can address that issue. I'm going to move my light over a little bit closer so you guys can see me even better, because I look so beautiful today. Nobody should miss seeing my face. And I hope you guys catch my sarcasm, because I'm not that stuck up. So these are some really good sheets that you can use: the success check-in, the power mentoring, and the builder tracker. So you can check all of those out at sharesuccess.com under library. And learning to really duplicate yourself is huge. You want to make sure that you're building your business in a duplicable, that's the word, way. So people can feel like, you know what? If Jen Oldham can do it, I can do it. And I've actually had a lot of people tell me that. If Jen Oldham can do it, I can do it. And at first I was a little bit like, what does that mean? Does it mean I'm like slow or something? And if I can do it, anyone can do it? Then I thought, you know what? I'm going to own it, because guess what? I think it's amazing that other people look at me and think, I can do that. I don't want people to look at me and think, I could never do what she does. I want people to think they can do it. Next thing that's really important that you're doing is really promoting events. I will tell you that I showed up to my very first convention as a silver. The year before, I skipped attending convention. I didn't go at all because I didn't think it was important to go. I mean, my upline had told me, you should go to convention. I'll give you I remember she told me she would give me the Aroma Touch handout. This was like 6 years ago, so no one turned her in, but she's like, I'll give you that little guide from the Aroma Touch book if you'll go to convention. And I thought, well, I mean, I think it'd be great, but I really didn't know. I didn't know what it was. I had no idea what to expect. And so I thought, I'm not going to go. I also wasn't that bought into doTERRA. Well, the next year I decided to attend convention. And so in September of 2010, I would have been a premier, or I was a premier. And they were actually going to recognize me on stage because it was a small convention. There was only 1,500 people there, and they were recognizing premiers and above. But I didn't go. So that next year, a year later, I was a silver. I was barely a silver. By the skin of my teeth, I'd hit silver. And when I reached a convention for that first time, I was amazed. I was like, wow, I love this company. I love these products. The synergy that I'm feeling is almost tangible. Like I can almost
reach out and touch it. It's just powerful to be here with like-minded people who are on the same mission that I'm on, and that's to bring natural health care to every home. And so 11 months later, I reached the rank of diamond. So I didn't go to convention that first year. And then that year of growth, I went from maybe being a premier some months I was even elite, to being a silver the year I did go to convention. I attended convention, and 11 months later, I was a diamond, which is incredible to me because, and actually I'm lying to you, because I was a silver at convention in October and I hit diamond in June. So I was a diamond for 11 months after being, or a silver. I hit silver, and then 11 months later I was diamond. However, I was a silver at convention, and 11 months later, or 8 months later, or whatever it was, I was a diamond, which is incredible. So you guys, get your people to convention. That is a huge thing that you can do. If you're pushing for silver, get your leaders on board and engaged and really bought into this company that we're working on building together, because honestly, they'll be more, if they're more successful, you're more successful, and they will be more successful if they attend convention. If you notice that there are different retreats or events in the area, get your people there. That is like one of the best things you can do, is realize, oh, you know what? doTERRA's in Ohio right now. They're in Columbus. I'm going to load up a car of people. We're going to go get a hotel for the night. There's 4 of us. We're going to jump in my car. We're going to go, and we're going to spend the night after. We're going to go get ice cream after the event. Make it a fun thing that you do with your team, so that your people, it's like you're creating memories together, and you're making a really fun experience for people with going to doTERRA events. And just show your team, we show up for events because doTERRA has invested millions of dollars and time into these events to help us. So get your people there. It's so huge. They're doing wellness prosperity summits all over the United States this year. And they've just done so many things to help us grow our business. The drop. They're doing the Empowered Life series. They're just doing so many things. So make sure you're getting your team there. Now I'm going to talk about three-way calls, and I will make this a little bit bigger so you guys can see this even better. But an effective three-way call. So you can use a three-way call for a lot of different things, but they have 3 different things listed out right here. You can do lifestyle and business overviews, check-ins and mentoring, and then recruiting potential builders. So I have done a lot of three-way calls with my downline. So people will say, hey, my neighbor just got her kit. She really wants to do her wellness consult or her lifestyle overview. I'll say, great, I will help you do it. If you want to set up a time, I will hop on and do it from you. And honestly, I only do this for the first few with a new builder because I want them to ultimately learn how to do it on their own. But, I always want my team to know, what, you're supported and you've got my support. So when new builders are learning to do overviews, it can be reassuring to have support from you during the first couple. Make sure your new builder and the prospect or enrollee have printed materials that they need before the call. So set up those lifestyle overviews. And if you really feel like, it's not even for you, because I realize that you're going for silver. You've done several of these, but help your new builders do these with their people, because you are teaching them successful habits that will help them grow their business. Mentoring. I've done three-way mentoring calls many a time. I especially do it if I ever replace a builder. So if I replaced my 5th leg with Stephanie, and she was supposed to be mentoring her team, and she's like, I told her, I said, you know what? I don't expect you to hop on and just mentor all these people you've never met. And so we did a lot of three-way calls together. And then eventually she took the calls over herself. So that's a great way for a three-way call. And then recruiting potential builders can be huge. A lot of your friends, and this may be something that you do a three-way call with your upline. If you're trying to bring on a new builder, sometimes it's really nice to have, a diamond or above on the call to share their experience with the person about what they can create with doTERRA. But this will teach you how to do three-way calls with your builders on your team. And that's the purpose of this 18th page that we have here. So when you're recruiting, when you're doing a three-way call that's going to recruit a potential business builder that's just doing a business overview, you want to make sure that they're prepared. And one thing you can do is have them watch a few videos about doTERRA before the call. So they can watch a co-impact sourcing trip, a creating residual income video, the van down by the river. There's a lot of different things they can watch so that they know what doTERRA is about, so that you don't feel like you're talking to a person who's like, now is that doTERRA, how do you say that? You want them to at least know a little bit about doTERRA. The best thing that you can do is have your builder. So let's say you are doing a three-way call. So let's say you have a builder on your team who says, hey, I have a girl, I want her to build. Would you be willing to do a three-way call? That's great. Make sure that your builder edifies you on the call because they want to give you credibility. You don't want to have to spend your time establishing your own credibility. You want someone to do that for you. Then make sure that your builder knows to let you lead the call and to step back and be quiet. I've done a lot of three-way calls where I want to just be like, stop. Like, just let me do this. You want me to talk to your person? Let me do this for you. And this walks you through some different things that you can do. So when I get on the three-way call, I'll simply ask, tell me about yourself. How long have you been a nurse for? And what would you like to change about your life situation? What financial goals are you wanting to achieve? What is your job not providing for you? And how does this impact your needs? And then I'll ask them the solution benefit questions. How valuable would it be to you if you were able to work from home? And what benefits do you see from being able to pull your kids out of daycare and just have them at home with you? If you could wave your magic wand and the doTERRA business or income producing opportunity was exactly what you wanted to see in your life, what would that look like? And then I like to ask them, are you looking to supplement or replace your income? What does it mean in terms of dollar amount per month? So I want to know what kind of money they really are looking to make. And then I'll ask, when would you like to reach this income? Are you wanting to reach this, like right now, in 2 years? What's your goal? And is there anything else you need to know in order to feel comfortable moving forward and building a residual income with doTERRA? And then I like to schedule another time to talk with them. Let's schedule another time when we can go over a specific business plan where we can outline a 30, 60, and 90-day goal. I can talk next either Tuesday at 9 a.m. or Thursday at 9 a.m. Those are my office hours. Are any of those times good for you? And express gratitude for the call. Show your dynamic listening skills by referring to an earlier detail from the conversation and just say something like, thank you so much for taking time to be on that call. It sounds like you had a really late night last night working, and I appreciate you being with me here today. And I know that you can do this. If you truly want to move forward with this business, I know you're going to be amazing at it. And then I'll edify my builder and say, you're really lucky to have the chance to work with Sarah because she's one of my best builders. She's really good at supporting her team. She's really knowledgeable about these oils, and she's just great to work with. Jump off the call, and then the builder who brought me in can finish the call. So that's just a script on how you would recruit potential business builders. I actually think that this came from Elise Shedovy because I remember her going over this at a retreat that she did. And I really like it. In fact, I've done it several times. I literally just go through those exact questions and I literally just let them answer. I spend time letting them talk. I don't tell them about how amazing doTERRA is. I don't tell them about how amazing I am. I just ask questions of themselves. I try to reach those pain points and see how doTERRA might be a solution for their pain points. Now, on page 19, it talks about a mentoring guide. So I always like to hear what's going well on someone's team. It's always refreshing to hear what's going well. I pick up my twins from preschool and their preschool teacher does not like them. And all I hear about is the negative things about my kids, and it gets really wearing on me. I don't like picking them up. Well, I love picking them up to see them, but I don't want to hear how one of their pants was falling off at school, or I feel like it's just tattling. But if there's things that need to be addressed, I absolutely want to hear about it because I want to help my kids be more successful in school. But I don't want to just start with the negative. So think about that when you're doing your mentor calls, is start with the positives. What is going right? And I think it's so great to express the gratitude and confidence in your business. You can turn almost anything that's going on in your team into a positive situation. If you're feeling frustrated with the builder, at least they've told you they would build the business. At least they're doing their LRP. At least they have brought some people onto the team, So congratulate and celebrate victories of the mentee, and then talk about solutions about things that maybe aren't working. Literally just go through the success check-in can be a really good thing to do on a weekly basis. And I would literally go through these 4 steps all the time. And then there's power mentoring, which I like to do after someone is, I do my power mentoring with people who I haven't mentored very frequently. So maybe I'm reaching out to somebody that I haven't talked to in a while. Maybe I'm trying to get someone going again. That's when I do power mentoring. And, I like to ask them where they are and, get familiarized where they are with their business, figure out where they're going. So this is what I do with somebody that I don't talk to on a regular basis. Somebody that it's like, hey, I'd like to just check in and see how things are going for you. Or, I'm really excited because I'm going to be in your area. I'd love to come do a class, but let's do a couple of calls, like a mentoring calls first. So those are some mentoring guides that you can use. Now, the next thing that you can do that is amazing is creating a really good culture for your team. For me, it's kind of interesting to step back and watch where I've been over the last 7 years, because when I first started doing, I'm going to turn this down a little because I feel like it's blinding me. This light really isn't in the right spot. And so, hang on. So it's like right at my eyes instead of around my face. So there we go. That should be much better. When I first started, I felt this really big obligation to create a really good culture for my team, because it's like moving. Like whenever I move, I always go to church. And some places I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm never going to make friends. No one's talking to me. I'm going to have to do all the work. And you know what? I'm willing to do all the work if that's okay. If that's how it's going to be so I can make some friends, I'm willing to do it. I'll tell you how nice it is when somebody goes out of their way to make me feel invited and welcome into a new place. So if you can do that for your team, I say go for it. I think that's a really great thing that you can do for your team, is help them to feel welcomed and show them the culture of doTERRA and show them the culture of your team so that they feel like they've got really great support. After I enroll a customer, I always put them into oil camp. I do a wellness overview or a lifestyle overview with them. And I put them into my Facebook group, my HLE product support group, so that they can have the tools that they need to be successful using their oils. And whenever I try to do a monthly or maybe every other month class, just to continue an education class for those people who are already enrolled. I found it's a little bit difficult to try to invite brand new people to a class that's a continuing ed class, because the people who have already enrolled are a little bit bored listening to an intro class again. And then the people who have never been are like lost because they don't know what's going on. So how I've been handling that lately is doing one-on-ones with those people, catching them up to speed, and then inviting them to my continuing ed classes. So this month I'm going to be doing a cleaning class to invite people to, and I'm really excited about it. So I do those things just to provide support for my team. Now, whenever I go to Utah, I take all of my builders in the area to lunch. So if you live in Utah and you're on my team and you're building this business at any level, please come to lunch with us. We'd love to have you. I do it just to create a fun culture on my team. I like the idea of a specialty class once a month. I just mentioned that I've been doing that very thing. And you can do, some people get together and they'll read a book together, and that can be really fun. You can also do drawings and offers. So that's actually something that I've done. I have taken people on my team that I know could use a little bit of a boost, and I invite them to be in a monthly drawing that I do. So I include certain people, and I'll just say, okay, anybody who orders 125 by the 15th of the month will be entered to win this extra gift that I'm doing. So I do extra things on my team. I know that Melina Harrison will do, like, if anybody places their LRP by the 5th, they can get a ticket for some sort of prize. And she goes through and she has figures out a way to calculate it to figure out who's ordered by the 5th. And, she has a really great system. But the point is you can notify your customers of company offered promotions and incentives, and you can do some on your own as well. One thing I like to do is 3-month incentives. If you want to order for 3 months in a row and do 100 PV each month, I would love to give you a keychain filled with my very favorite essential oils that doTERRA has. Just do little things like that. Customer support calls are huge. You can even just call up and tell your customers, thank you so much for being on my team. I just wanted to call and thank you for being a loyal customer, and see what kind of questions you might have about using your oils. So nice to have someone check in and see how you're doing. I've also done offer gifts before. Hey, I'd like to offer you a free bottle of lemon, lavender, and peppermint, just my 3 favorite oils, if you want to order for the next 3 months, or, whatever. Or you can, or I'll give them a gift of like little samples or some hot chocolate. Like, I've done a lot of things. I'll reach out and just say, hey, I wanted to send you a little gift to just thank you for being a loyal customer on my team. I'm sending a little bit of a hot chocolate mix that I just made, and it has some peppermint in it. And I'm also going to send you a little sample of Holiday Joy, because it is my favorite smelling oil during the holidays. And I would love to send it to you. And can I make sure that I have the right email or address for you before I send that? It's a great way to connect with your people. Lifestyle overview. You can call somebody and just say, I want to make sure that you're learning to use those oils that you just bought, or that you bought a year ago or 2 years ago. I've been thinking a lot about you, just wondering how you're doing, and I'd love to do a lifestyle overview with you. That's a really great thing you can do as well. I also like to check in with people to see what's working well for them. I'm just curious how you're enjoying your products, what's been working for you. So I just reached out to a girl that I shared samples with, and I asked how the oils were working for her daughter, and she said they're not. And I said, oh no, that's too bad. Did I send you this oil to try? And she said no. But then she told me that the Serenity is not working on my daughter, but it's working on me. So I was like, oh man. So tell me about what you're using it for and how you're why you're liking it. And you can always turn anything into a positive. So anyway, these are just some really good little scripts that you can use to check in with your team. And I've called to check into people to invite them to build. In fact, I'm getting ready to call some people in a leg that I have, where the people above them are no longer building. And I know that they've never really received much support. There may be a presidential diamond in the rough sitting on that leg somewhere. So I'm going to call and reach out to everyone on the leg and just say, hey, I'm business partners with so-and-so, whoever the former person was that they were working with. And, I know you probably haven't had anyone check in on you in a while. And I just wanted to see how you're doing and let you know if you're interested in learning more about this doTERRA business. I'm getting ready to hit Presidential Diamond this year, and I'm looking for a few key people who want to create a difference in their finances. And I'm just going to call to see if that's them. So I really like calling and checking in on your team, and it's something that you can do with your team. So you can have your builders each call their people, but just give them a script to check in. It can be so huge. Now, another thing I really like to do is incentivize and recognize success. So anybody on my team, now I do have to be careful because I don't want to step on the toes of, some of my leaders who are already recognizing their team. I don't want them to feel overshadowed. So, I do have some certain criteria, certain legs, certain builders that I help do some recognition with. But basically what I do is I give them, anytime somebody hits the rank of elite or above, I get them a book from doTERRA or Oil Life. I get them the Essential Life book. And anytime somebody hits the rank of silver or premier, I get them a gift card. Like, I have specific gifts for specific ranks because I really like to recognize rank advancement. I figure I always like to give them a shout out on Facebook. And then I also like to, but I always like their builder, like whoever enrolled them, to have that chance first. And then I like to give them a gift because that will hit 2 of the, 5 love languages. Because it could, if their love language is gifts or words of affirmation, you're going to hopefully they appreciate one of those 2 things and help someone to feel special. This gives you some ideas of things that you can do for each rank. And I'll tell you, when you're a blue diamond with an organization of 1.8 million, it can be a little, like, in volume, not people, it can be a little bit tricky to recognize every director, every executive. So that's where you come in, is a premier. Go out and recognize all of your directors, executive elites, et cetera. Give them a gift. This is just some fun things that you can do for them as they start succeeding in their business. Now, you can also do things like, I always like to incentivize my people to start doing ordering. Most of the time, anybody gets any sort of a kit, I give them a book because I want them to have the resources to be successful. So this just gives you some fun incentive ideas for hosting, LRP, enrollment, rank advancement, but I always give them a book of some sort because I really want them to be successful with using their oils, and the more resources they have, the more successful they'll be. So these are all just really good reminders. Even as I'm going through this, I'm like, oh man, this is so nice. Like, I should be doing this. I should be doing that. So just think about ways that you can recognize your builders. And I hope you guys are enjoying the thunder and lightning that's going on outside of my house right now. So it sounds like there's thunder outside. Well, there is. Anyway, have an amazing week, and please think about ways you can support your team.